Let's be clear about the timeline. In 2008, Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty to state charges in Florida and served 13 months in jail. This was a public fact. Any association with him from this point forward was an association with a convicted sex offender. Yet, unearthed emails from 2010 show a friendship that was, by all appearances, thriving. In August of 2010, Epstein emailed Andrew about a 26-year-old Russian woman he described as clever, beautiful, and trustworthy, suggesting the prince might enjoy having dinner with her. Andrew's reply was unambiguous, stating he would be delighted to see her. The invitations went further. The emails reveal Andrew inviting Epstein himself into the very heart of the monarchy. In September 2010, Andrew extended a staggering offer. He wrote, "We could have dinner at Buckingham Palace and lots of privacy." Just 2 days later, he followed up, telling Epstein, "Delighted for you to come here to BP. Come with whomever, and I'll be here free from 1600-ish. He was offering the convicted sex offender a private audience with any guest of his choosing inside Buckingham Palace, although it's not clear if the dinner ever happened. But the single most damning piece of correspondence comes from an email he sent to Epstein on February 28, 2011. This was sent shortly after the infamous Virginia Giuffre photograph was first published in the British tabloids. Instead of severing ties, Andrew wrote this to Epstein. "It would seem we are in this together and will have to rise above it. We are in this together." What this was he referring to? This was a global scandal involving the sexual abuse of minors. By aligning himself with Epstein with the word "we," Andrew wasn't just offering support, he was acknowledging a shared struggle. The email reportedly continued with warmth, saying, "I'm just as concerned for you, don't worry about me," and ending with, "Keep in close touch and we'll play some more soon." This directly contradicts the story he told the world in his 2019 Newsnight interview. He told Emily Maitlis that he had traveled to New York in December 2010 specifically to break off the friendship. But this email from February 2011, just months after that supposed breakup, suggests that was a lie. Far from ending the friendship, he was reaffirming it, promising to rise above it together. This points not just to poor judgment, but a deliberate deception of the public. When you lay out the key events chronologically with this new evidence, Andrew's story transforms from one of embarrassing associations into a clear and methodical timeline of deceit. It starts in 2008. Jeffrey Epstein pleads guilty to soliciting a minor and is jailed. For any public figure, especially a royal, this should have been the end of the association, but it wasn't. Fast forward to 2010. The newly released emails show that just 2 years after Epstein's conviction, their friendship appeared strong. This is the year Andrew was allegedly offered an introduction to a 26-year-old Russian woman and, most shockingly, offered Epstein a private dinner at Buckingham Palace. It's important to remember that Andrew was still a working royal, the UK's special representative for international trade and investment. Then comes 2011. Public pressure is mounting. After the photograph of Andrew with Virginia Giuffre is published, the backlash is fierce. In July 2011, he was forced to step down from his role as UK trade envoy, a direct consequence of the controversy. Publicly, this looked like a man facing consequences. But privately, we now know what he was writing in February of that year. He was emailing Epstein, his partner in scandal, with the words, "We are in this together." Jump to 2019. This is the year the world changes. Epstein is arrested on federal sex trafficking charges and dies in his jail cell. The story explodes. In a desperate attempt to control the narrative, Andrew sits down for that infamous Newsnight interview. It is here that he builds his public defense on a foundation of what now appear to be lies. He claims he ended the friendship in 2010. The 2011 email proves this was false. The fallout is swift. In February 2022, facing a civil lawsuit from Virginia Giuffre, Andrew settles out of court for a massive sum, all while making no admission of liability. In light of the new evidence, that settlement looks less like an innocent man avoiding a nuisance and more like a desperate attempt to keep a lid on a box full of secrets. A royal embarrassment. That's the image now confronting the public. A prince reclining across the laps of several people, his head resting near a woman's lap, with Ghislaine Maxwell smiling down at him. This isn't a scene from a satirical show. It's a literal description of a photograph, one that has just been unleashed from the darkest corners of the Jeffrey Epstein archive. For years, the world has been gripped by the horrific saga of Epstein and his network of powerful associates. Just when it seems the story has reached its final grim chapter, the ground shifts once again. The Department of Justice, in a massive document dump, has just published what it says are over 3 million pages of files related to the Epstein investigation. And buried within this mountain of data are images and emails that have dragged Prince Andrew back into the heart of the storm. We're not just talking about old allegations being rehashed. We are talking about new photographic evidence and written correspondence that appears to systematically dismantle the narrative Prince Andrew has carefully constructed for years. This is an examination of that new evidence. We will break down what these photos actually show, dissect the words from Andrew's own emails, and place it all within the timeline of denial and deceit that has defined his connection to this case. What we are about to explore isn't just a royal scandal. It's a story about power, accountability, and the slow, agonizing crawl of truth into the light. The photographs are described as unsettling for a reason. They are undated and released without context, which only adds to their sinister nature. One particularly bizarre image shows a man, identified as Prince Andrew, reclining across the legs of 5 people whose faces are redacted. His head is close to a woman's lap, and standing over him looking down is a smiling Ghislaine Maxwell. The image is shocking in its strange intimacy and begs 1,000 questions. What exactly is happening here? Is it a party game or something else entirely? The lack of context is chilling. It allows the imagination to fill in the blanks, and in the world of Jeffrey Epstein, the imagination often lands on horrifying possibilities. This isn't the first time a photograph has threatened to be Prince Andrew's undoing. The image that has long haunted him is the 2001 picture showing him with his arm around the waist of a 17-year-old Virginia Giuffre, with Ghislaine Maxwell smirking in the background. For years, that single photo served as the most tangible piece of evidence connecting him to the orbit of Epstein's victims. Andrew's response to that photo, particularly during his catastrophic 2019 BBC Newsnight interview, was a masterclass in deflection. He questioned its authenticity. He claimed he had no recollection of that photograph ever being taken. He famously constructed an elaborate alibi involving a trip to a Pizza Express in Woking and a peculiar claim that he was unable to sweat. Now we have this new photo. It's arguably more compromising in its visual language. The Giuffre photo was damning because of who was in it. This new photo is damning because of the action it depicts. A member of the British royal family sprawled across multiple people with Epstein's chief accomplice looking on. Some reports suggest the photo was taken at Sandringham, the royal family's own estate. The power of a photograph in a case like this can't be overstated. It cuts through legal jargon and public relations spin. It presents a reality, however fragmented, that people can see with their own eyes. While Andrew has always strenuously denied any wrongdoing, these images put immense pressure on that denial. How does one frame that as an innocent, everyday activity? The royal family has tried desperately to contain the reputational damage, culminating in King Charles stripping Andrew of his titles and effectively banishing him from public life in late 2025. But these photos, emerging from a U.S. Department of Justice release, show that this is not a Windsor family problem they can manage internally. The ghost of Jeffrey Epstein cannot be exorcised from the palace because the evidence of his connections keeps multiplying. If the new photograph is the visceral shock, the newly released emails are the cold, hard proof of a calculated deception. They paint a picture not just of a continued friendship after Epstein's 2008 conviction for soliciting a minor, but of a relationship that seemed to be thriving in the shadows. Finally, in October 2025, King Charles III takes the drastic step of stripping Andrew of his remaining titles. It was a move designed to permanently sever the monarchy from the toxicity of the affair. But as the Department of Justice's January 2026 release shows, the final word doesn't belong to the king. It belongs to the evidence. This story is far from over. These new files are part of a more than 3 million-page release, and a political battle is brewing over accusations that the Department of Justice may still be withholding relevant records. The truth is still coming out, piece by painful piece. If you believe in the importance of holding the powerful to account, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. We will continue to follow the facts as they emerge. So where does this leave us? We are left with an image of a prince reclining over a group of people with Ghislaine Maxwell watching over him. We are left with his own words in an email, promising a convicted sex offender that we are in this together. and we are left with undeniable proof that he lied, repeatedly and publicly, about the nature and duration of his relationship with one of the most monstrous criminals of our time. The new evidence from the DOJ files doesn't just add more details to a familiar story, it fundamentally changes the story. It invalidates Prince Andrew's entire public defense. The questions now are deeper and more urgent. If he lied about when he ended the friendship, what else did he lie about? What is the real context of these disturbing new photographs? And with millions of pages of documents now in the public domain, what other secrets are waiting to be uncovered? For the British monarchy, this is a crisis that refuses to die. They have tried distance, they have tried silence, and they have tried stripping titles, but they cannot strip away the evidence. The phrase, "we are in this together," was a private promise of allegiance between two men shrouded in scandal. Now, it is a public indictment, a testament to a dark friendship, and a devastating betrayal of public trust. The lingering, haunting question will forever be, what exactly were they in together?